Welcome to the Hopcast.
Thanks for joining us once again, everybody.
I'm Brad Chmielewski.
My name is Ken Hunnemeder.
Special guest, special location.
We have some very special guests today. We've got Tom Korder and Eric Hobbs, our good buddies. How are you guys?
Welcome, guys.
Doing good.
Fantastic.
Very well.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us, man.
And if
Thank
you can't tell by our glasses, we're here at Hopleaf.
Yeah, legendary Hopleaf. We're up here drinking some beers early afternoon. What could be better?
Nothing could be better.
But we're here because we have a very special announcement and some breaking news.
Breaking news. Straight off the wire.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're gathered here today because we have a little announcement from the two of you. You're going to be opening your own brewery.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Tell us a little bit about it. What's it called? Where's it at?
Well, it is called Penrose Brewing Company. It's going to be located in Geneva, Illinois, a quaint little suburb about 45 miles west of Chicago. Place I actually grew up, so it holds a dear place in my heart. But it's a cool little town. It's got a lot of unique character in that it supports a lot of small, locally owned businesses and shops. And we feel it's got a great personality in and of its own, and a place that we think a craft brewery would do really well. So we're excited to take the next step, and kind of let Tom give you some more information about how we got to this place in our lives and how we decided to go ahead and start our own brewery. So
Eric and I were talking probably 2 years ago now, sitting at the
December of 2010 to be exact.
There we go.
That's cute.
He remembers our anniversary.
It's the day you said yes, Tom. It's the day you said yes, buddy.
Sitting at the Clybourne brew pub, just sitting at the bar talking about beer. Eric said, I really kind of want to start my own brewery. What do you think about it? And I kind of lined out all these things that I want to see in a brewery, that I want to build in a brewery of my own. A very community-based brewery, focusing a lot on education, making unique, incredible beer styles. And I just love Belgian beer styles. So his ideas lined up exactly with mine, so it was kind of a great match. So we just ran with it from there.
I think one of the pieces I think is key in this whole thing was, from my perspective, I've been in sales, Cicerone, that type of stuff, but I know the importance of having great beer to sell. We've been fortunate enough to make and sell Goose Island beers for a long time, and there's never a substitute for quality. So when you have really good beers to sell, it almost makes it like you're just going out to share cool information about an awesome beer, and people kind of just get behind that. It's not even so much like selling.
Right.
And so the key for me was I need to find a partner who's going to be able to do that. So, I feel like Tom was not only a great partner in that, he can make really awesome beer and he can make quality beer consistently, but he's also got that unspoken, charisma that I like in a brewer. He goes out there and he talks to people. If you go meet him at a bar, you could talk to Tom for 20 minutes and it's comfortable, it's approachable. So, that was one of the things that I thought was really unique about Tom, and ultimately was one of the reasons I decided I'm going to approach this guy about partnering and starting a brewery.
And before this, you guys were both at Goose Island for years,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was coming up on 5 years before I transitioned in my new role after the buyout. How long were you there?
I was there since 2008. I started.
Okay.
And I worked in a bunch of different aspects of the brewery. Started off just doing brewing, managing, scheduling, quality control, just kind of managing the day-to-day brewery, and then transitioned into the role as innovation manager. So working with a lot of the new beers, with John Laffler doing all of his crazy wild things that we bring to festivals, the barrel age.
You're the Laffler Wrangler.
Yeah, I was the Laffler Wrangler. That's a great term for it. Great. Working with the barrel program and all the barrel team, just to make sure all the beers that came out were amazing. So definitely want to bring some of those ideas about beer to our new endeavor.
So you mentioned that you're focusing on Belgian style ales with Penrose, and you come from a different background where you're doing a lot of like barrel aging, innovation type of stuff. Are you going to be bringing some of those aspects to Penrose?
Yeah, we definitely are. It's one of the things that we love. We love drinking sour beers. We love drinking wild beers. I love experimenting with a lot of different things, different processes and ingredients.
I know you do.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's more of putting our own spin on it. So we don't want to do exactly what anybody else has done before, but we want to make it uniquely our own. So barrel aging is definitely going to be a key component to that, both spirits, wine, even fresh oak, but doing it in our own particular way.
Sure.
And all right, so tell us about the brewery itself. Are we doing brew pub production? What's happening?
Yeah, I think Tom and I both realized day one that we were interested in production brewing. I think Tom is uniquely suited to start, manage, operate a production brewery. I've only worked in a production facility before, so I mean, I'm more familiar with going to retail and selling beer as opposed to trying to manage a restaurant. So I think we were always thinking production brewery with a tasting room.
Okay.
You know, we think the important piece of the tasting room is it kind of acts as like your showroom. And for us specifically in Geneva, you know, being a small town, small community, a lot of great bars and restaurants, we didn't want to enter that community with any ill will, you know, and having those other bar owners, restaurant owners think, shit, these guys are coming in and they're gonna take customers from us. And I would much rather go up the street and have them serving our beers on draft than have to worry about, you know, having, you know, a brew pub. So limited hours, no TVs. We'll take that from the Hopleaf.
And since you're out there, you want to have a place to go. You don't want to be shunned away. Like, no, you're not welcome here.
And then the tasting room does give you some unique, you know, ability to test drive some beers, put some beers out there. You know, we get to do some releases there, and we'll have enough space to do some small events. But it's definitely more of a let's bring the beer to people at other retail establishments. That's the underlying goal. So.
And what kind of timeline are we looking at for this? This announcement is the first, and we appreciate you guys coming on the Hopcast for that. Means a lot to us. But when can we start seeing some construction and Tom getting dirty and stuff?
Well, right now we're in a lot of the paperwork and permitting process. So this is the not so fun and glorious part. So we're working with the city to get a lot of our permits moving forward. We already have our brew house in the general area, so we bought that used and got it on auction. And so build out will hopefully happen about a month and a half, maybe 2 months from now, after the architects get all their drawings done. Our main goal is to get beer this summer. So there are a lot of great festivals in Geneva, Swedish Days, great taste up in Madison. It'd be great to have beer at events like that. So and we'd love to get beer out this summer. We're pushing pretty hard, working full time on that, just trying to get everything rolling.
Yeah.
Do you have a projected amount of beer that you're gonna be making? Like, what size is the brew house, and what do you expect to be making annually?
The brew house is a 40-barrel brew house, so it's pretty big.
Okay.
But it's only that size because we got it used, so we got a great deal on it.
It's a lot of capacity. I better sell some beer, huh?
Yeah, you should.
We initially planned a little bit smaller, but it just kind of a perfect storm. So our initial plan is to start very small, very localized. Chicago, the Fox Valley area, really hit those areas hard. Make sure we can supply the beer, we can supply quality, consistent beer that gets people excited, and that's the main goal. Focus on our home area, and then maybe start to branch out just as we grow.
And then since that's not ready, you're doing test batches right now, which we're drinking here. We have 2 of the beers.
Yep. So today we have our Belgian Pale, and then also our Strong Dark Ale. So once again, Belgian inspired. Want to play around with a lot of different yeast strains, really showcase the different characteristics that Belgian yeast can bring to the table. So a lot of these beers will have a nice phenolic note. Depending on the yeast strain, we'll balance with the esters, but then also bring in the different characteristics. So the Pale, we used the Belgian Bastogne yeast, the White Labs yeast, so it has a really nice spiciness to it.
Yeah.
But then I wanted
it's got a great yeast character to it.
Yeah, I think that's really what shines in this beer. But then I wanted to balance that with a nice hop character. So we used Cascades, we used Brambling Cross, we used Sriracha Ace. So, I mean, you really don't see those 3 together a lot because they come from all different parts of the world. But they all add another layer to that flavor.
Yeah, it's got a great citrus, tropical.
Nice
spicy yeast. So
nice lemon from that Sriracha Ace. The Brambling Cross has like a fruity, currenty type characteristic, and then obviously that Cascade pininess. Lots of different levels. One of the things you'll see in a lot of our beers are those flavor profiles of the different levels of flavor. So you don't want one hop, you don't want one spice. If you can immediately tell what spices it is, you're probably using too much of it. So that's the Belgian Pale. No real specialty malts in there. We used a Belgian candy sugar to get a lot of that color.
And what I really like about the Strong Dark, it's really dry. for the style, you know, and so it makes it quite drinkable. And a lot of times when you get some of these bigger beers, you're just like, oh fuck, it's like, oh, it's almost a chore to drink them. And so, man, and this is my first time trying your beers that you made with my equipment.
Yeah. Ken so graciously let me use his brew kettle.
They're very, very good.
I think one of the key components to, you know, what we're trying to do with some of the styles Tom dialed in on right away was we want sessionability. You know, there's a lot of people out there making really big beers, and a lot of really big beers that are, you know, you can plow through and you can power through, but they're almost palate numbing after the first one. And we think sessionability is really important, and I think it gives us a step into, you know, a craft beer drinker's, you know, vast array of options. I mean, when you look at what we're trying to do, Belgian styles are not unique. I mean, everybody's done that. A lot of people have done it, I should say. But what we're doing to separate ourselves is, you know, a really approachable, very sessionable beer that you can get in a, you know, fair price. Some of those bigger beers that we will experiment with, you know, some of the stuff that Tom will be barrel aging and blending, things like that, will be available, will be bigger. But we really want to make sure that we have a regular supply of session beers. And so this Belgian Pale, when he first showed it to me, I was like, this is fantastic. I have thrown in my own 2 cents, so I'd like to see a little bit more body there. So we're going to experiment, you know, furthermore. We're going to get some more. I think we'll try to put some wheat in there and you know, beef it up a little bit. But I think this beer is really good. You know, on your system, it's probably because the system's so good, right? But I think stylistically what he's doing is spot on, and this is exactly what I wanted to do. So again, it was a nice compliment day one. We're like, guys, this aligns. Let's do this.
Yeah, so. brew great beer first, and then everything else kind of falls into play.
Sure.
So Penrose, tell us about the name Penrose. Where's this come from?
Sure. Well, we were doing typical, you know, research online, just trying to find, you know, what we thought was a list of words, phrases, things like that represent, you know, specific meaning for us. And, you know, Tom being a mechanical engineer by trade, you know, science is a big part of what he does. So he stumbled on Penrose and Impossible Objects, MC Escher, Penrose tiling, and we found some really cool design aesthetic within a very, you know, science and mathematical based, you know, set of, you know, design, I should say.
Yeah,
kind of random, but
they're really great artistic patterns. But the reason they work is because of the math behind it.
Sure.
So like all the MC Escher drawings and the tessellations and everything, it looks gorgeous. It looks wonderful. But you wouldn't think that the reason it all happens is because the angles add up correctly and one shape works and one doesn't. So we can relate that to brewing, where you've got this beautiful, wonderful product, this wonderful beer that the only reason it works is because everything went right, and you know the right temperatures to hold it at, and how to treat your yeast, and you kind of have to have this play between the art and the science behind it.
Kids science.
And that's I think that's exactly how, when we were going through this. I mean, when you get through a naming process, you're looking at a lot of words that have a very literal meaning, right? And Penrose meant nothing to anybody, and which is one of the biggest appeals, was that, you know, we get to define what Penrose means for people moving forward. And I think Tom just kind of snapshot the little bit of information you just put out there. The last phrase he used was a nice balance between art and science. I mean, I thought that was a pretty great phrase to kind of dial in the name. So that's kind of how we got to Penrose.
So, Tom, from your side, I mean, you haven't actually brewed beer in a long time.
It's been a long time.
Because you've been doing kind of just like overseeing stuff and doing more blending and that type of thing. How cool is it going to be for you to get behind the kettles for a little while?
It's really exciting. I mean, I'm absolutely stoked. We got the brew house in. It was a freezing cold day. It was probably under 10 degrees when the brew house came in, and I was inside of it that day, just kind of crawling around, inspecting everything. That's probably the thing I'm looking forward to the most, is being able to get back on the brew deck. Building the brewery is going to be great, but actually kind of having that day in, day out work where you have that direct control over the beer, rather than having a big automation system that's doing everything. I think that's what's exciting me the most about this whole venture.
Cool. Yeah. And then all your buddies will stop making fun of you.
No, they still will. They still will. They'll just find a different way.
We'll still make fun of you. Every day.
Yeah.
Count on that. That's good.
Well, the beers are excellent, so I'm looking forward to seeing how they change and evolve once the brewery is ready and going. It's great to have a new brewery in Chicagoland area.
Yeah.
Especially one that's making good beer.
Yeah.
No, it's a great time, especially in this area, to be in craft beer. There are a lot of new places opening up. A lot of people have come from other breweries and are bringing their knowledge from their old place to their new places. There's so much more room for beer to go. Yeah. So even though there's a ton opening up, there's still so much. The ceiling really isn't there. It's unlimited.
Yeah, there's still a lot of room here in Chicago, and since you guys are out in the suburbs, I think people are out there wanting more beer and they can't get some of the beers that we can have here, and so it's nice to be like, hey, this is our brewery in Geneva.
Right.
Sure. And on that's a great point, Brad. That the communal sense of craft is what makes this so much fun. And there's a ton of volume still within domestics and the big imports. I mean, it's as a collective group, we should always make sure that we present a unified front and we help each other and we supply each other when we need to, and ultimately try to make sure that we're helping other people learn more about craft in general, as opposed to just your beers versus another. And one of the things we like about Geneva too is they've been very open with us. They're like, we love this is great, and we told them right away, it's like we fully plan to have guest breweries at the brewery doing events, guest taps. So if we're ever hosting a festival per se, we want to make sure that we have our friends out from Rev. We want to make sure we have guys from Haymarket, and bring those beers out to make sure that they have people that might not have tried one of Pete's beers, or if Lafler's not going to have his beers out there, make sure that they have a chance to try these beers.
Since you guys aren't brewing for a while, is there plans to do any brewing at other breweries, like guest brewing? I know a lot of the new breweries here, until they're ready to go, they're kind of, we go here and brew a beer and try our beer. So anything planned for that?
Yeah, we actually just kind of wrapped up the planning for one down in Perennial in St. Louis. Oh, cool. So with Phil Wymore, Corey King, those guys down there. So we're kind of
Goose people.
Yeah, I know. More ex-Goose people.
We like to keep it in the family.
There's a big web everywhere we go. So we just kind of had an initial brainstorming meeting. We got a couple of test batches running. Just kind of playing off of their style with our style and blending those two. And we're hoping to have that around Chicago Craft Beer Week. Yeah, get that up here, get it around. So that way we can have beer out on the market, kind of build the name before we're ready to kind of take it off.
That should be interesting. They always do fun stuff. So
yeah, they make great beer. Phil and Corey are both great brewers, great people too. So that's a good relationship to have.
Well, guys, thank you so much for sharing this news with us.
Cheers, man.
Thanks
for having us.
Thanks for having us.
And congratulations on the new project. We can't wait to taste some actually commercially brewed beers.
Nice. Absolutely. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks for watching.
Cheers.